Tito Bunny. Kumusta?
Okay, good. Well, fight.
So I'm very happy to have you on tonight. So I wanted to catch up with you. I'm very glad that we finally get this done.
Finally, I know you've been wanting this for what? A few years now?
Yeah, I've been trying to get in touch with you because, of course, I also wanted insights from you, being a renowned figure in Cebu with many of your successful businesses.
Thank you.
So firstly, I'd like to ask, how have you been doing? How's your business? What keeps you busy lately?
Pretty good. Well, we went through a very difficult and challenging patch, di ba? The pandemic that started in 2020 and until now. So I can say that it was one of the most challenging periods in our life. But I think it made us and also a lot of people stronger. Di ba? So that's what happened. So now we're on track and we are definitely going to grow more. And we've learned a lot of lessons along the way, which we hope we can use and share with a lot of people too.
What were some realizations during the pandemic? Because I understand restaurant businesses were badly hit.
Oh, we actually had...
How did you cope?
I know, we actually had two of the most affected industries in the world. The restaurant business, which was what, 80% of our business. We operate a school, which is Bright Academy and Playhouse Children. So both had been severely affected. So we had to cope, and what we had to do, good that we were able to just had some reserves that carried us over, and that's what we did. So we were also, by the way, during COVID, we also opened several restaurants in the middle of COVID.
So
now, yeah, it sort of put us in position now to be ahead of a lot of other people. And that's what's happening, I think, in our situation right now, Mike.
So what are some of your newer brands?
Oh, wow. We just recently opened Mr. Sizzlers, Anli Rice and Gravy. That's Charlie's baby. And we just opened, it's not a new brand, but we just opened in Compostela, which is about 5 kilometers from Liloan, Lantau, which is now really, I think, extremely welcome by a lot of people because it's quite difficult. The stretch between Cebu City and Danao is quite long, and the traffic. So right now it's doing pretty well, and we want to thank a lot of people that had patronized it recently. And we, as I said, Mr. Sizzlers is a brand that we want to grow. We first opened in Seaside, SM Seaside, and we got a big space there, 320 square meters, and we opened in JY Square. And we're opening another outlet soon in the Ayala Access Road in the next few months. So that's one brand. We also opened a brand now. This is your Tokayo, my son Michael. It's called Pinutus ni Manong, which is to cater to the students. The prices would be about 65 pesos to 95 pesos. We're in front of near Gaisano Country Mall, beside the Petron station. And we just opened Marites, which is a seafood Cajun restaurant. It's really attracting a lot of people.
Marites.
Well, Charlie's brainchild. So I was a little bit hesitant in the beginning, but it sort of caught a lot of people's attention very, very quickly, which is, I think, important in branding. So we also opened Rib House, which is a restaurant operated by my daughter, Cheryl. And it's in Gaisano Country Mall. It's something that we also want to grow. So we're always in the lookout of new brands, Michael. So we're a different kind of company where we are multi-branded, can you say?
Yeah. So how many brands in total do you carry now for your food business alone?
Oh, I'm sorry, I have to look at my calling card to check that out.
Too many.
I'm serious, quite a lot. But we have, I think, about 22 branches right now. And Thirsty is a brand that has been with us for 27 years. So,
that's where it started, right? Thirsty.
Well, actually, yeah, we had Playroom, which we started like a daycare center, and then we bought Thirsty in 1996. So we bought Thirsty with only 3 stores, and we grew it to over 200 stores before COVID. But now we're down to, I think, about 150, and we're inching back again. So the mindset is always to continually grow and expand.
But quite impressive that you grew in spite of the pandemic. So how were you able to do it? And did you have to retrench employees for a certain period of time, or
And actually, you cannot say that we grew because of the pandemic. Because
how
what
did
happened?
you expand?
I know, but when before the
considering
pandemic,
the difficulties.
yeah, we were growing quite fast, and then we were 1,000. We had 1,000 employees before the pandemic, and then we dropped to 400 plus at the height of the pandemic, because we had to close many branches and we had to let go of a lot of people. But now we're back to where we are, and in fact a little bit bigger. And by the end of this year, we probably will be, including our franchises, maybe about 1,500 or 1,800 people. So you can say, I don't know, despite the pandemic, because we did not actually stop just building on and growing the business little by little. So that's basically what it is. But it was a tough, very, very tough period.
But what was the turning point on how you were able to bounce back?
The turning point was that early on, the first thing we did was there's 7 of us, family members, in the business. So the first thing is just cut everybody's compensation by 80%, and we talked to our people that they should just ride on. Our managers took a 50% cut in pay. By the way, they're back now, and a little bit more. And just basically that's what we did, because nobody knew how long would that situation
we didn't
last.
expect it to last that long.
Wala. Huwag ito expect na mo dugay ito. We were thinking it would just be a few months, but it just dragged on. It was very, very,
went on
really
for
bad.
2 years actually.
Yeah, really 2 years at its height. And being in the restaurant business was tougher because you could only accommodate 30% of the usual. And imagine our sales dropped from 100% down to 10%. And gradually we built it. We tried the delivery business for a while. We set up shop in IT Park, and it was good in the beginning, but later on when everybody went into it, so it just dropped. So eventually we had to close it down, and we just focused on our restaurant. So I think we can just look at that, hopefully part of our lives, as a challenge and something that we could profit and learn from.
I'm sure many lessons learned, because I think we were really put to the test, and what came out was our resilience to really thrive under immense pressure.
And I think the unity in the family was very, very important. We continually met, although in Zoom, and we were in constant touch with our people. They all understood the whole situation, and basically that's what it is. It was like, I think, a lesson in dealing with a crisis.
Okay. So, very impressive. I also have to note that I've seen your many restaurants, and it's quite impressive seeing how you've built the brand, local brands, and that's very hard to do.
Very difficult, challenging.
So, and I'm quite impressed also with your interior. It's really, it retains among Cebuanos, Filipinos. So, how did you master that? Branding is very difficult.
People ask me what's my secret, and I always say 2 things. Number 1 is my family. Second one is my attitude and the mindset. Well, my family is quite talented. I can talk about Charlie, who is the guy who conceptualizes and designs, and from A to Z, most of our restaurants like Marites, Top of Cebu, Lantao.
So Charlie looks out for the food business.
Well, we're a little bit unique because 3 of my children.
So it's very dynamic.
It's dynamic
the
in a
setup.
sense, yeah. They're not really competing with one another. I work with all of them. Like Cheryl has also her own brands. She is on Top of Cebu, not Top of Cebu, House of Lechon. She is now with Rib House, and she also handles taters. And now we're branching out to some beauty and wellness products. But Charlie carries and has built our major brands: Lantao, Mr. Sizzlers, Cafe Racer, and Marites. And we're opening more branches. We're opening there in Cabalang, Kabangkalan, a large tract of land. It's 6,000 square meters, so that's going to be a different brand, a seafood restaurant.
But primarily, your target market is more on the mass market.
No, it's actually a varied market, but the comfort food, like the native restaurant, is very is very popular. Our House of Lechon is a place where people go to. But you know, during the pandemic, it really was very revealing because when there were no visitors from other people coming in, our sales really was so dropped. So it just told us that the locals, you know, the Cebuanos, don't really go to the restaurant to eat lechon because they can always have access to lechon anywhere else. So, but when the people started to come into the city, our sales just sort of picked up. And if you go to our House of Lechon, it's always full in Acacia Street, and you don't really see too many guys from Cebu. Of course, when they have guests, they bring in there. But the people who go there are riding in vans. Sometimes they even carry their bags. So that's the situation with our House of Lechon brand. But the other brands are pretty popular. Top of Cebu, Lantau, and Cafe Racer. These are strongly patronized by our fellow Cebuanos, and I want to thank our friends to keep on patronizing us.
Whenever I check your restaurants, it's usually packed. So great job.
To my family credit.
Yeah. But I'm curious with family businesses. Well, I'm part of one
Yes.
as well. I know there are squabbles sometimes. So how do you ensure that it's delegated properly? There are no egos that go overboard. So how do you keep everyone in check?
Yeah, I
Considering
think
you're
it
the head.
starts with my ego. So
Yeah.
I've always thought, and I've always been very conscious of my ego. When I was in the life insurance business, I learned that ego is the enemy, and I still
Could be your
consider that. So
downfall, right?
I check on my own ego. So I guess it's probably an example of my own children, how they see their dad dealing with his ego, although it's tough. And each one is talented in his or her own way.
They have their strengths.
They have their strength, but I've always built on strength. You know, you cannot build on a weakness. I've always say that, and that's what I've been trying to do. So what I've done all these years, and as the parents, the mother of my children, Alan, also really, we love all our kids. They're very close to each other. And every week we always find time to go out and bond together. We travel together. We're traveling soon. We're traveling before the end of the year together. So that's part of the whole process. So they're close to one another. But right now, the way it's set up, they're not really under one another. I work with each one of them. So I work with John with Thirsty and Fruitful. I work with Cheryl on her brands, which are Rib House and Taters, and the beauty products. I work with Charlie on the major brands that we have. And we're also in repair and maintenance and construction, which is Randy is doing that, which is Fix Masters and Playhouse, not in Playhouse, but PH Construction, and Michael, his own brand. So that's how we're operating. So our challenge now, Michael, moving forward, is how would they operate when I'm gone? So what we're doing now, and we're doing this, we're strengthening our board.
Have you done like a family constitution or all that?
Okay, that's a good
type
question
of
because we
planning?
did. We have a family constitution. Several years ago, I met this Ricky Mercado of the Ateneo Family Development Center, and we brought him over here, and he did our family constitution. So we have a family constitution. We need to revisit that soon because that's what's over 6 years old. But it sort of helped everybody really focus on how to run our family
I think
business.
it's good to plan ahead,
It
considering
is to plan ahead,
different
but you know, in a
characters.
way, the pandemic has sort of derailed a little bit our plan. I wanted to just sort of retire ahead, but now I'm more involved in it, and I don't think I plan to just get out of it because you know you usually get old and
So you're still very much active
I
with
am.
running day-to-day operations.
not day to day because I don't run a business myself. All those businesses that we have are managed
But you
by.
oversee
Yeah,
the
I
macro
sort of
level,
oversee the macro level.
the overall sales, the revenue.
Of course, every day at 10 o'clock in the morning, I get all our sales. At the 20th of the month, I get our profit and loss statement, and I still meet our executive team, our management team. We have board meetings, so I'm still involved. But now I go to the office in the morning from 9 o'clock to 12:30, and I just don't go to in the afternoon anymore. So I take it easy. I take a nap, I exercise, and I relax. And unless I have a function that I go to, so that's how I'm running my life right now. And it's pretty relaxed in a way. And I think it's the way. So my children are involved in the day to day, but they still consult and we still talk a lot day to day on the things that are going. If they seek my advice, yes, but if not, then they are sort of really just managing their own. I think they're ready to take on the world. I think what I've done all these years is to provide them with the atmosphere and the surroundings to grow and to become better people and to learn.
I know you have 5 children, right? And all 5 are active in the business.
Extremely active.
So it's the 5 of them and you and your wife.
And the mother of my children, Alan, she runs our school.
So 7 in total.
We're all 7 in the board. Okay. And we're all there. We're there day to day. It's the 24-hour job. Okay. Although we have a business Viber chat, the group, and then we have a family chat Viber. So we're trying to separate
family and business. Separate
the family from business, which is quite a challenge. Sort of agreed, okay, we're dinner together, let's not talk business. So I guess, I don't know what you do in your family, but you guys have been in business longer than us.
Similar time, maybe, about 30 years.
Ours is not 30 years,
it back to my parents, about
Correct.
30 plus
And
years.
I think that's what it takes for a business to really get established. I think you cannot, if you run it the old-fashioned way, it takes time to build a business.